In this module, learners will apply accessibility practices to ensure all learners have access to instructional learning environments and experiences. They will also explore universal design of learning practices to increase access of their learning experiences for a diverse learning population. This video explores accessibility for learners during the instructional process, as well as the use of universal design principles for planning and delivering instruction to a diverse learning population. Designing with accessibility for all learners in mind means taking steps to ensure that everyone has equal opportunity to engage with real-world and digital content. Being proactive in creating accessible course content prepares educators to meet the needs of diverse learners now and in the future. Teaching and learning with technology provides many resources to help both educators and learning designers create accessible course content for the learners. Section 508 is part of the American Rehabilitation Act, also known as the Vocational Rehabilitation Act. While the initial legislation was created before the advent of the Internet and online learning, the spirit of the legislation was to assist individuals with disabilities. The original act was amended in 1986 to include Section 508 for the first time, and that was later amended in 1998. Section 508 specifically deals with eliminating barriers in informational technology for those with disabilities. This is a requirement for all federal agencies and public governmental agencies, thus including schools. It is not a requirement for private websites to comply unless they are receiving federal funding. There is an undue hardship clause for accommodations that are not physically feasible or reasonable, but otherwise the entity must make accommodations for the transfer of information from the Internet. Examples of information communication technologies covered under Section 508. Telephones, smartphones, and mobile devices. Televisions, DVD players, in the past it was VHS tapes. And productions. Internet and intranet websites, PDF documents, DVDs and CDs. Online trainings, webinars and teleconferencing, technical support call centers, remote access websites and tools, computers, software and operating systems, user guides, and copiers, printers, and fax machines. W3C is a consortium of individuals looking to establish standards for the Internet. Web accessibility encompasses all disabilities that affect access to the website, including auditory, cognitive, neurological, physical, speech, and visual. Web accessibility also benefits people without disabilities, for example, people using mobile phones, smart watches, smart TVs, and other devices with small screens, different input modes, and so on. Older people with changing abilities due to aging, people with temporary disabilities such as a broken arm, people with situational limitations such as in bright sunlight, and people using a slow internet connection. The Web Content Accessibility Guidelines provide a framework for making web content more accessible for people with disabilities. This extensive checklist has been added to your module readings.
Universal design is the design and composition of an environment so that it can be accessed, understood, and useful to the greatest extent possible by all people regardless of their age, size, ability, or disability. An environment or any building, product, or service in that environment should be designed to meet the needs of all people who wish to use it.
Here is an example of architectural universal design. To access this building, a ramp was constructed for individuals in need of a wheelchair or walker to enter the building. The ramp is incorporated into the design and can be used by all people.
In the context of learning, Universal Design for Learning is a framework to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people based on scientific insights into how humans learn. As you plan your lesson, consult the framework and consider using some of the strategies to optimize learning for all students in your class. See the resources on Joule.